for affording us the opportunity to have this discussion with you today. We saw in the National Assembly, Member of Parliament Alex Ferguson bringing a motion which aimed to get the Parliament to create a select committee to look at what she described as financial constraints that Guyanese face in acquiring their house lots. As Minister within the Ministry of Housing, what is the government's take on this motion that was brought to us?
So, we always welcome any motion that aims to improve lives of people. So I made the point when I started off my presentation that this sitting of the National Assembly is Private Members' Day, a day when the opposition is allowed to bring motions, and we will debate those motions, and then we will either vote for or against the motion. Now, this is a unique opportunity for any member of the opposition to score points, to do something positive, to back up what you say all the time. If you say that there needs to be change or there needs to be improvement in a sector, and you have an opportunity on Private Members' Day to bring a motion that should ultimately lead to the improvement in the lives of Guyanese. If you claim to love Guyanese, if you claim to love poor people and want to advocate on their behalf. Instead, we saw 3 motions they brought. One was on the Local Government Commission. They sought also to rehash this issue about a quorum, what constitutes a quorum on the Public Accounts Committee, something that was debated and passed in the House already. They dredged it up again. And then this one on charges for house lots. Now, we would willingly engage in a discussion, in a debate on how we can, or what measures we can take to improve the housing sector. But instead, when the member whose name this resolution was brought in, Annette Ferguson, when she got up to make her presentation, she, instead of advocating on behalf of Guyanese, she sought to launch personal attacks against the Vice President, predominantly against Vice President Bar Jagdeo and several members of the People's Progressive Party Civic. So the point I made is that this, instead of using this as a positive, to create positive change, they instead came to the House to grandstand, to play politics, to tarnish people's characters, and so on. So they squandered the opportunity of Opposition Members' Day or Private Members' Day to effect positive change.
But you know, Minister, this is, as you made the point, is quite rich, coming from Member of Parliament Annette Ferguson, who we know has been in the public domain, first of all, making a number of accusations against the Ministry of Housing, but not doing so well in terms of defending her own track record as Minister of Housing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Which was very startling, because when you have a track record as dismal as hers, you know, you have to wonder how they do not even have the moral authority to discuss the housing program, because there was no housing program when they were in office just a short time ago. There was no housing ministry. There were no capital budgets passed for 3 years for the Central Housing and Planning Authority. People got only 7,000 house lots in 5 years. Compare and contrast that to over 33,000 house lots that we have distributed in just over 3 years. And we will distribute the 50,000 house lots that we promised the people of this country. So when we have a track record like that, and people are seeing visible evidence of people coming, receiving their house lots, moving into their homes, people benefiting from different subsidy programs, such as the steel and cement, such as the mortgage interest relief, such as coming through the housing construction program, benefiting from low interest rates, benefiting from low equity payments, or in some cases, total removal of the requirement for equity. When you see such success in the housing program under our government, then I don't know what gives them the authority to speak about housing. And then the former minister, Annette Ferguson, then sought to talk about, call names. She called names in the house and talk about who got house lots and the size of house lots and so on, when she herself received a house lot as a sitting member as a minister, as a sitting minister, receive a house lot more than double the size of an ordinary house lot and paid less than 50% for the cost of that house lot, benefited from a huge discount, and then the price that was ultimately attached to the house lot, she didn't even pay that. She paid less, a further discount. So how can you now come to this house and claim to be making a case on behalf of poor people when you exploited the system when you were in government?
Minister, I want to talk about the essence of the motion, and I would like for you to also take the opportunity to point out what the government, through the Ministry of Housing and Water, has been doing to make sure that house lots across the country are affordable for Ghanaians.
So when we came into government, we came in with very specific objectives that we want to achieve in our first term. 10,000 house lots annually, which would be 50,000 for the 5 years. We spoke about investing in infrastructure, in new and existing housing schemes. They did 3 housing schemes. 3 housing schemes in 5 years. We have developed over 50 housing schemes in the last almost 4 years now in government. We also spoke about ensuring that we make financing affordable for new homeowners. And that's why we introduced several initiatives to make it more affordable, such as some of the things I just mentioned: the steel and cement subsidy, mortgage interest relief, raising the ceiling from 15, which they reduced it to during their time, increasing it to $30 million, so more people can access that refund from the GRA. That's money directly back into people's pocket to make financing more available. We worked with the banks to reduce interest rates, and I gave the interest rates as at 2020, when they were still in government, and today, when we are in government. Interest rates have been slashed. In a global environment where we're seeing interest rates rising as a result of COVID and inflation, Guyana is one of the only countries that has seen a reduction in interest rates. All of these things make it more affordable for people to access homes, loans to build their homes. So even after you receive the house lot, which APNU AFC wasn't making available to you, because as I quoted from a letter that she wrote, that Annette Ferguson wrote, clearly saying that allocating house lots was not an option, that they chose deliberately not to allocate house lots, but they were sure to allocate it to themselves. She was sure to get an exorbitant size of a house lot, and many other members in the cabinet and their children, couple of Brooms children, and we have Mingo and all of these people who got their house lots in days when, and they come to Parliament and they make a case that people are waiting for years, but they didn't do anything in their 5 years. And since we came back into government, over 33,000 people, ordinary people, have now accessed their house lots, trying to clear up that backlog that grew over the 5 years of total neglect and despair in the housing sector under their tenure. That's why we have this massive backlog. So after we have given over 33,000 house lots to ordinary Guyanese who will go on to be homeowners because of direct interventions that we've made in the financial sector and in the banking sector, those people will become homeowners and they will benefit from an economy that is thriving. And let me also be clear, there's no housing crisis in Guyana. There is no housing crisis. The housing sector, just like every other sector, is growing. There's an increase in demand because more people can afford it, because more people are working, because more people have easier access to financing, and people are seeing the opportunity to improve their lives. That's why we're having so many vehicles registering. People have to buy them, so they have to be able to afford it. So everybody wants land, everybody wants a house, everybody wants a vehicle, because the country is ripe with opportunities for people to grow and improve their lives. So that's why you're still seeing a high demand in the housing sector, but we are reducing the waiting time. So we're trying to service the people who have been waiting for a long time. Unlike what they did, giving people house lots, people applying this month, getting house lot next month, they're people, not ordinary Guyanese. People getting house lots in 3 days. Mingo got his house lot in 3 days. Imagine in February of 2020, on the eve of an election, we have him getting a house lot within days. That was the ideology of the APNU, AFC. It was sinister. It wasn't about ordinary people. And then they come here in the usual sanctimonious style and want the public to believe that they care about them. But the evidence and the track record tells a very, very different story.
Minister, a lot more work is going on in the Ministry of Housing. We want to thank you so much for spending the last few minutes discussing this matter with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.